Get ready for an unfair advantage over your competition. This is the Sales Edge podcast, where globally recognized sales expert and trainer Joe Pici helps you sharpen your skills for booking more appointments and closing more deals. And now, here's your host, Joe Pici.
Hey team, did you know that 71% of the companies in the world are now conducting more than half of their meetings in virtual sales presentations? So many companies have elected to do virtual sales meetings. You know, it's been hard enough to develop relationships, have effective sales meetings, keeping clients' attention, delivering value, and creating your competitive advantage. Then we have to throw virtual sales into it. And it all becomes much harder. Today, we're going to address some of the challenges, some of the solutions, some of the things that we need to be aware of in virtual selling. Welcome to the Sales Edge podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pici. This is podcast number 328. And we want to thank our sponsors, Pici and Pici Inc. and Sell More Virtually, that combined are underwriting so much of this. And actually, we're upgrading our studio as we speak. And so the money comes from Pici and Pici and Sell More Virtually. And now with the amount of downloads that we're getting, we're open for sponsorship. And thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for helping us expand the globe, get more and more downloads. So let's start with data. I know people like statistics, and this is important. Let's talk about first some of the common mistakes that people make when selling virtually. So this is our first study. You know, this came from the buyers themselves, so the people being sold to. Number one is technology problems. 89% people say the number one challenge they have when being sold to is problems with technology. Number two is if they use visuals, they're poor during the meeting. Bad slides, bad visuals. That's 86% of the people when being sold to virtually say this is the number two problem. Number three, there's a problem with buyers getting connectivity. And so what they say is that there's a lack of responsiveness to their questions or concerns. So 84% of the time, the number three reason is that they feel like the seller is not responsive. And number four, poor presentation skills. This is also, in the 80th percentile. And number five, they feel like the seller is ill prepared. This is 80% of the time. So when you look at those reasons, when you look at technology, poor visuals, lack of responsiveness by the seller, a lack of preparation, and poor presentation skills. These are the top five reasons, and they're all 80% or higher, as much as 89%. Now, in a second study, these are the top virtual selling challenges. They took all the challenges, and over 62% of them all agreed that these were the top three. So from a seller standpoint, number one is keeping the client's attention. So first, attracting attention, but then keeping the attention. There's 91% complained about this. The second one was helping the buyer to understand what the seller could do in solving their problem. That's 89%. And the third one is developing good relationships during the selling meeting. This is 88%. So let's look at in order. The top three challenges that sellers have in the virtual sales market is attracting and keeping the buyer's attention, 91%. Number two, getting the buyer to understand how you could solve their problem, 89%. Number three, developing strong relationships, 88%. So these are statistics. Look at some of the challenges. Let's go to study number three, virtual sales skills and what is important. From the buyer's perspective, here are the top four you must do if you're going to be able to sell to them. And so, number one, They want the seller to lead with discovery, to find out what are the buyer's needs, their desires, their concerns. 71% claim that that's their number one need. Number two, having a clear description of how the problem can be solved. So 68% say they don't explain their solution very well through a virtual market. And number three, this is a big one, poor listening skills. 68% of the time, the client feels like through a virtual sales that the seller is not listening well. And number four, can the seller explain to the client how they're going to get ROI? 66% of the time, the buyer feels like the seller has not explained adequately the entire ROI. Look at the challenges that we face here. Really think about this. We're talking about the numbers of virtual sales meetings going on, and you heard the statistical data of some of the challenges. But let's make a case for live video meetings. I do a lot of selling over the phone. I do. But let's talk about a case for getting people on a video meeting, whether it's Zoom, Teams, WebEx, whatever it is you use, FaceTime. Here's some of the keys of what video allows you to do, live video. It allows you to pick up subtle nonverbal cues, just like if you're in person. Body language. This is so important. Now, here's another thing. You're going to be able to quicker recognize and adjust to their behavior style. So you're going to be able to adapt your presentation, adapt your meeting to the receiving style of their behavior that so many times you can only read through video. Video gives you a competitive edge. So let's look at statistics. When the seller has a webcam, it increases their closing ratio by 50%. That's the seller. But when the buyer also has their webcam on, it goes up to a 60% increase in closing. So look at what happens. So many sellers and buyers are uncomfortable on video. I know a lot of people, they say, I'm just not comfortable on a live video. So go to podcast from 2 weeks ago, okay? And you're going to hear Gabby, who is a television journalist. She's in front of a camera all the time. She's teaching some great tips on how to be more powerful on video, both live and recorded. Live video virtually selling is based, it takes practice, practice, practice. If I look into two words that's going to make you better when it comes to your skills getting better, it's practice and preparation. I can't tell you how many times you have a meeting and a person decides not to get ready for the meeting and they can't even find the link. So important. Key one, when booking an appointment, instead of saying, would it be worth 30 minutes to jump on a call and then give your value proposition, add this. Would it be worth a 30-minute video meeting for me to show you how we can value proposition? So instead of saying get on a call, insert get on a video meeting. So you're just inserting that, and it's going to help you increase the number of actual video meetings you have. Our good friend Joe Miller down in Texas, he's become a master at the video. I've watched him grow his business. I've watched him grow the company he's working for. I've watched him grow his personal consulting business by infusing more and more live video into everything he's doing. And he was at a trade show this weekend, and he actually was doing live video conferences from his hotel room, setting up meetings. So when he went out on the trade room floor, he had set appointments. It's such a powerful medium. Now, I'm going to give you some quick tips. In no way can I take this to the depth that's going to make you effective. And I'm going to give you some quick coaching tips that can begin to help you get better, because I can only tell you that in the world of sales, there's such a fine line between poor to average, average to good, good to great, great to elite. And video is going to help you really move up that ladder quickly. So number one, a couple quick tips: be professional. Dress for the part. You don't need to. I've seen people do business meetings in wrinkled shirts, in pajamas, in sweatshirts. Folks, dress professionally. Use the right language and have business etiquette. Just because you're not live with somebody doesn't mean you drop your professionalism. Number two, set up a professional setting. I go back to Gabby's podcast, but lighting and background is so important. Number three, check your technology before the meeting. I can't tell you how many times people 2 minutes before the meeting are going on and it's not working for the meeting not to get done. And that's a reflection on you, your selling capability, and your business. Number four, learn to be concise. Tighten your meetings. It's so important not to get long-winded, not to go into the weeds. It's really tough to keep the attention of people if you run long-winded meetings. Number five, open every virtual sales meeting with discovery. Ask questions. That's the way you get buy-in. That's the way you bring them into the meeting. Find out what their challenges are. Find out what their needs are. Find out, do they have an established timeline for remedying their issues? Number six, get them to talk. It's amazing because sometimes people get into this thing. I'm on a video. This is a presentation. Sales is not a presentation. It's an exploration. Let me say that again. Sales is not a presentation. It's an exploration, which means you got to get them speaking. Number seven, use active listening skills. And I can tell you, when you're not in a live format, it's tougher to listen. Let's talk about the phone. Yes, that's virtual. But now let's talk about even on video. People tend not to listen as well. Number eight, get rid of all distractions. I go back. We have done virtual selling courses. We do it in our boot camp. In our mega course, we have a complete process for a virtual sales meetings, core stories. But one of the key is get rid of distractions, not only to the client, but you. Make sure you're in an environment that you don't get distracted. Don't be doing other things during this meeting. Number nine, have a tight core story sales meeting. Now, I don't have the time to go into the depths of that, but we can work with you individually or in our boot camp or in our mega course on how to tighten up and have an effective virtual sales core story. Number 10, if you're going to use a slide deck, a PowerPoint, they call them slide decks, it only supports the meeting. It is not the meeting. I see all the time that they'll throw a slide up there and they're nowhere to be seen. It's just a slide and they're talking through it. Folks, that's not only is it boring, but you're going to lose. You're going to lose part of your audience. And always set clear next steps. When you finish the meeting, make sure you're setting up the next meeting. Make sure you find out, do they need any information? And make sure you know how close they are to moving forward. So just quickly, we offer an abundance of ways of how you can become a more effective virtual seller. I recommend, number one, consider our 3-day sales boot camp, where we really go into the whole virtual selling thing, or the mega course on sellmorevirtually.com. That is a plethora of virtual selling skills, and my one-on-one coaching. Don't we want to be better at virtual selling? We're in a virtual selling world. Gone are the days where companies are paying sales reps to fly to Seattle for a half an hour meeting, then to fly to New York. If we don't become better selling virtually, then we lose a competitive advantage. So thank you so much. Make sure, if you would do us a favor, can you like this, share it? Can you write a great comment on it? Go to sellmorevirtually.com. There's so much information on that, and that is a virtual platform. So thanks a lot. We'll see you at our next podcast.
Thanks for listening. New episodes will air each Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Pici and Pici Incorporated, a firm which provides training, consulting, and keynote presentations, empowering corporations and individuals to attract and retain quality clients for higher revenues and growth. Make more money in sales. Speak with Joe in person by calling 407-947-2590 or visit www.piciandpici.com. Spelled PICIAND, PICI.com.